Good evening and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. As luck would have it, right on time for the team sheet to come out. What we weren't expecting was that this would happen during our working hours for our European journey. So apologies, Neil is hoping to get here, but he is running a little bit late. So I'll try and talk you through the team and let you know where we're at. So what we're starting with is Martinez in goal, Chambers, Konza, Longley and Dean. Interesting. McGinn, Kamara and Tielemans, Zaniolo, Bailey and Duran. So it is a bit of a tantrum, I suppose. There's a lot going on. On the bench, we have Olsen, Marshall, Douglas Luiz, Watkins, Pau Torres, Alex Moreno, Diaby, Dendoncker and Jacob Ramsey makes his return. Very interesting team sheet. Where do we start? So, look at it. There's a few ways of looking at this. It looks like it could be a three at the back with Chambers, Konza, and Longley. With Digne on the left and possibly McGinn on the right, possibly Zaniolo on the right. I'm honestly a little bit lost. I'm going to hazard a guess that it's McGinn that will cover that position. It's a very interesting team. It's a very interesting bench in that we have the ability to go and really rattle them with what's on the bench. Sorry, I'm just counting these here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 players on the bench. So we're one player short, I think, from what we're allowed. Look, it's really interesting. I wasn't expecting that many changes, to be honest. Obviously, I expected Martinez to start, and after that, it's an interesting lineup. I think I honestly, unless he's playing Chambers or Konza at right back, it'll probably be kick-off time before we see exactly how this is measuring up. But let me know what you think of it. It's a proper shake-up. Longley making his debut for Aston Villa and making it in Europe is very interesting in itself. We've gone very attacking with Zaniolo, Bailey and Duran. I'm guessing Duran deserves a start after what he did at the weekend. Let me know your thoughts there. Neil will be with us shortly. He just sent me a message there to say he's on the way, and right on cue, here he is, I think. No, maybe not. So hello
everyone.
How are we doing?
Good.
We're all a little bit rattled by the team sheet.
Why would anyone be rattled by a team sheet? We've had
teams
out in the past.
I know I'm speaking into the oblivion here now because it was just me talking to the wall there. But I suppose the interesting talking point is obviously that Chambers is in there, as is Longley. So how is that a setup at the back? Is it a 3-5-2 with McGinn and Dean wide? Or
I'd say four at back.
Four at the back with Chambers or Konza playing right back. That would you take?
I'd say based on the fact that Zaniolo and Bailey are in there as well, I would say it's a four. It's a flat four, and then Bailey up top with Duran. I think it's as you see it. Is how I would expect it. Now, obviously, look, Digne's going to go. If you look at Digne's heat map after this, don't be surprised if the majority of the time he spends is in the opposition's half. While it essentially could turn into a three at the back based on just, I suppose, average time in position. I think the setup here is based on a base formation of a 4-4-2.
Yeah,
I would say.
I think this is safe to say. Obviously, we've got the strongest bench we've ever put out in my time supporting Aston Villa. Yeah. Anyway, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I said we're allowed 11 on the bench, I think, and we've named 10. I'm not sure if I expect Jacob Ramsey to make any needless turnout today, and unless they want to get games or minutes under the belt for him. But do you think this is definitely a nod towards Sunday and just being a little bit careful with what he's putting out there?
Yeah, absolutely. No, not for Jacob Ramsey, not specifically. I don't think we see Ramsey Sunday either. Or maybe
I'm talking about the likes of Luiz, Watkins, Cash, Diaby, Torres.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I
Mm.
think that's what this is. It's not like, don't get me wrong, this isn't a Martin O'Neill throwing out the kids in Europe style
No, absolutely
team
not.
selection, because you've international, you've international, you've international, you've international, you've international, 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 international. The only people who aren't internationals are Chambers and Konza. And Chambers has an international cap,
Yes,
so
yeah.
so realistically speaking here, um, the bones of this team are or have been international quality over the last 12 months.
Mhm.
So I'm not concerned. Like, people have cried out for squad rotation. People have cried out for the likes of Tielemans to get his game in the team. Everybody's excited to see Zaniolo in the team. You show me a more confident striker that's 19 years of age in the Premier League at the moment than John Duran, and I bet you I'll tell you you're a liar. At the moment. So I think there's very much method to madness with regards to this lineup, and for me, it's probably the right one on the balance of power. It's the right one.
Yeah, no, look, I can't argue with anything you've said, or the only I suppose the only curveball is you're going to have Chambers or Konza playing a right back, and that doesn't speak for itself as such, and that's why I asked the question: was it a back three as opposed to a back five, where it's very attacking? And you know what? There's a big night for you mentioned Duran. It's a big night for Tielemans too. It's a chance for
Yeah,
him to cement himself in this squad.
put his money
Um,
where his mouth is.
Put his money where his mouth is. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that I read too much into what he said. I know it was taken out of context, and we'd be wrong to. And look, it's important that players want to play. Absolutely want to play. So put his money where his mouth is today. Get out there. Get stuck in from the start. Um, Create a dam in front of that back four when we haven't got the ball, and then pick off those defense splitting passes when we have the ball. So look, he's well able to do it. We saw him unlock the defence twice at the weekend with a great ball to Dean, a great ball to Watkins for the penalty. So I'm looking forward to him getting his feet under the table in this team, because I think he could be a game changer going forward.
Me too. And yes, John, you're dead right. I carefully chose my words and I put 19-year-old in there. I was going to say young striker, but yes, obviously Evan Ferguson is never far from an Irishman's thoughts at this moment in time, given what we think he can be. So I was very careful with what I said. There was actually a really interesting one here from Danny H. Danny H said, without being negative, could this team sheet be a howler if it all goes pear-shaped? And I suppose the mind immediately harkens back to Stevenage. And I suppose for me, imagine the howler would be if we named our full 11 and it goes pear shaped. So I suppose, regardless of the 11 that we name, we would never know how it would go if we named the opposite 11. So I think, and while a loss today wouldn't necessarily be a howler, depending, because these are a pretty decent team, I do expect Aston Villa to win today, even with this team that's out. So I suppose it's an interesting question that you pose based on the PTSD I think everybody has, thinking back to the Stevenage game where we essentially emptied the bench. But I think one big thing there is, and without seeming like we're going 2 foot in on Robin Olsen, but we do have Emi Martinez in goals today, I think, which is a big difference. And also, I think that midfield is rock solid, or should still be rock solid, as should the two men behind Duran, based on the competition that we're playing in. But then again, the competition we're playing are severely higher standard than Stevenage were. But if lightning strikes twice like the Stevenage game did again, then it's just more evidence that Aston Villa Football Club is cursed. That's that's my scientific view on it. My
And
scientific
look,
view on it.
let's be honest. We can afford to lose this game. Not obviously. I don't want to lose this game. I'd love to see this table being put to bed early, and we can start playing players, really rotating players towards the back end of it. But it would be nice to go and get the win today. There'll be no pushovers. We know that Polish teams are, historically very tough to play against, very tough tackling, albeit they have a good sprinkling of foreign players within that team as well.
And
Um, just,
internationals
just
too.
just looking at their Twitter, it looks like they're playing a 3-4-3. which I didn't read into from.
Yeah, that's normally what they play. Yeah, they normally play three at the back. They've got the 35-year-old. He's got 41 caps for Poland. I can't pronounce his name. And then they've got Augustiniak as well in there as well, who's got maybe 1 or 2 caps for Poland. They've got a very young up and coming Albanian player, Mucci. I don't know, is he starting? I haven't seen their Twitter. Let me go and find their team.
Mucci's there, yeah. Mucci's there.
I would have been very surprised if he didn't play. Hozu on the other wing, and then probably Thomas Peckart, who was formerly of the parish of Southampton and Tottenham Hotspur.
No Peckard in the starting lineup.
No Peckart in the starting lineup. Interesting.
Yeah.
He has 4 goals for them this season, but 3 of those came in a game back in the 21st of July at the very start of the season. So yeah, they're gone with Gual up there as well. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So no surprise, I suppose there. Although Peckart he's on the bench too. I thought they would have started him, but yeah, they've actually gone with a completely different back three than I thought they would go as well. Jurjek is there. Augustiniak isn't there at all. They've gone with Pankov, Capudi, and Ribeiro. Ribeiro is Portuguese player, all right. I don't know how I pile about that back three at all. You know, I was expecting a different. I was expecting them to play Jurjek in there somewhere, but it doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah, that number 55. He's 35 years of age. He's the leader in there, let's say.
Stone, yeah, that's the guy. Yeah, he's 40 caps for Poland.
Yeah, so I won't even attempt to butcher his name. Look, it's a decent team out. There's a sprinkling of youth in there with obviously the age and legs. The goalkeeper is very, very young. 20-year-old goalkeeper, unusual at this level. So look, they're not going to be a pushover. So it'll be an interesting foray into Europe and see how we come up against a strong Polish side, no doubt.
Yeah, I think so too. Look, realistically, they could, whoever they put out today is going to play 15 to 20% above their station due to the raucous atmosphere that's going to be in that ground. It's an old cliche, but home games are there. Home games favor the home team, and then some home games favor home teams more than others. And when you go into this, like the flares will be on full display. The Legia Land banner will be up. There might even be a banner threatening to murder players or something comes up in a T4 behind. These guys take intimidation seriously in this stadium, and that's grand. That's all part of all part of their shtick, all part of their package that they bring with them. For those of us watching on TV, embrace it. I think it's going to be. I think the color will be in fine fine display today. For those of you that are there, if anybody's watching in on this, I would be safe rather than be chesty, regardless of the result in this game today. But I like, as I say, the fans for Warsaw are going to be a huge factor in this game as well today. Like, could you imagine, Paddy, trying to communicate on a field whereby the noise levels are just so high because the fans are giving it socks? Like, I've often wondered about like the derbies in Turkey, the Fenerbahce, Galatasaray, Besiktas, all those derbies. Like, you mustn't be able to hear a thing that's going on there. And how does communication happen with all that noise? I think it's incredible. And the Villa players would need to be aware of that today.
Of course, yeah. And look, we've plenty of we've European experience in there now. With obviously Martinez has played a couple, Longley has played a good few, as has Tielemans, as has Kamara. So there's plenty of guys there who have been through this before. I think Tielemans actually played against them when he played for Leicester in the Europa League, maybe. Against Legia Warsaw. So he no doubt will be getting people up to speed. And I suppose the most important thing is if we can keep that crowd quiet and play on the front foot, that's what ultimately will help that atmosphere and turn that into a more duller affair off the pitch, and that will really help us. But we're going to need to be on the front foot. We're going to need to keep them on the back foot. But if they get ahead, it's going to be almost carnival-like, I would imagine there.
Oh yeah, I think so too.
Have you gone off that Legia Warsaw page?
I just did. Yeah, I can go back to it if you want.
I was going to get you to put up. I was going to get you to put up the pinned tweet, which I thought was very good.
I'm on the English one now as opposed to the Polish one. My Polish is. I do need to brush up on my Polish, Paddy. I was going to go back to the Villa team actually for a small bit, but just in the interim, Paddy, while I'm trying to search back and go back here, who are you most looking forward to seeing on the Villa team today? Is that a self-answering question, and it's going to be Zaniolo again? Because, as I say, everybody, like, based on the amount of chances, like the statistics that statistical output of his game against Crystal Palace, albeit,
Yeah.
For somebody who was taken off after 55 minutes, incredible amount of chance creation,
Yeah, and I suppose that figure that we saw today also applies to the minutes he got at Liverpool as well. So it's a little bit skewed. I like they're all across the place. For Duran to get a start, I'd say he's going to be absolutely buzzing. Tielemans to be in there, as I previously mentioned, and look, it's exciting to see what Clement Longley is at. It's so long since I saw him play myself that I'm interested to see how up to speed he is and how he's going to adapt to the game. But Zaniolo obviously, it's a big night for him to show what he's made of on the European stage. As is Bailey, who also I didn't say also has some European experience with Leverkusen as well. So there's plenty of European experience in there, and so the main obviously the front three is very important. I hope that goes all well, because if we can get a couple of chances and Duran can put his foot through it, or Bailey put his foot through it, or Zaniolo setting them up, whatever the case may be, and then you've Tielemans playing those defence-bitten balls, and then Clement Longley. And a big night for Callum Chambers too. Obviously sees something in him that he stuck around the squad, didn't send him out on loan or offload him or anything. So and he would have had European experience with Arsenal, I'm sure too.
Of course. Now, I've previously spoken about Unai Emery and his, and like a lot of people were. Wait a minute, I gather my thoughts before I start trying to speak and gather and think at the same time. We spoke at the start with regards to this being a 4-4-2 base formation. I think that's what it will be, but Dina will be given all the license he wants to go up forward and cross in balls. That's where he does his best work. And that's why he gets caught defensively, because he is given that license to go forward. So it's a lot to do with scheme as it is to do with I suppose Dina's ability to get back. So it's half of one, 61, half a dozen of the other. No, the reason I'm talking about that is the reason the Chambers could have stayed around is because, we go back to the likes of one fight. We go back to that safety blanket that Unai Emery knows works with centre halves, and having that centre half that can pull in, that plays out on the right, that pulls in. So the tactical flexibility that Chambers gives you in comparison to somebody like Matty Cash, who was an out-and-out fullback, in comparison to Ezri Konsa, who is more of a centre half, but is beginning to grow into that right back role. Having that safety blanket of, okay, I don't have to have one or the other. I do have another rotational piece I can bring in here to play in Callum Chambers. I think that would have weighed heavy in his mind. Also, call a spade a shovel here as well. You sell Chambers, what do you get from him? You probably get somebody to pay 2 million. He's worth more than 2 million to this squad, but he's probably not worth more than 2 million to anyone else's team. And I think there's a opportunity cost in that as well. That he's a pro. Like Chambers is a pro. Like, I don't know if anybody can point to the time that Chambers was seen coming out of a nightclub absolutely langers after kicking the shite out of someone inside there. Send me the article, because he just doesn't seem to be that type of guy. And pros last long in the league too. So fair play to him, and I'm looking forward to seeing if he could bang one in like he did against Leeds 2 years ago. I think he'd justify his place very, very much. So that'd be very nice.
Yeah. And look, he's generally done very well for us anytime he's come in there. So it's just that the opposition he has to get into those positions is the reason why it's a bit of a bolter. But look, we've had many injuries in that position, so to see Pau Torres sit this one out and have him ready for the weekend is good with me too.
Yeah, I think so too. And there's a potentially a 37 game or 31 games, 61 game slate to play this season as well. So that's important to remember too. Paddy, you didn't do the match preview, but I would be surprised if you would have asked me, do you think anybody from the Legia Warsaw team will get into our team? I don't know is the bloody answer for that one, but I'm going to ask you the question I normally ask you in the team sheet tantrums. What's the score going to be?
Um, I think it's going to be very tight early on. I think it'll be a game of chess, but I think eventually we will score, and we'll score twice, and we'll keep a clean sheet. So I'm going to go for 2-0 today.
I was going to go for 2-0 as well, and I'm still going to go for it. I'm not one of these people that feels they have to go for a different score just to be different. I think 2-0 will be absolutely fantastic. This is arguably the toughest game. Yes, we've got Alkmaar who played in the final last year. Their fans away aren't exactly the easiest fans to get on with either, judging by what the West Ham fans had to do in the stands the last day. But based on the semi-finalists, I say finalists for Alkmaar, semi-finalists, based on the where this is, the tightness of the ground in the first game out. Every team can get caught in the first game out in the competition, so Villa have to have their wits about them. And a good start today, really away from home, really sets the tone, I think, for the rest of the competition, because you better believe it that Unai Emery wants to be in a position where he's got 9 points after 3 games, and then he's more or less qualified. I think that's something that he wants to have going into January. Be nice to have, be a nice position to be in.
Absolutely, very interested that there. You wouldn't have said it, but this is Callum Chambers' 30th appearance for Aston Villa. I just see it in the background there of Twitter. There's Aston Villa stat there.
Stat, actually, just a quick one as well, guys. We're going to throw this link is going to throw directly over to Stato's live watch along if you guys want to afterwards want to hang on afterwards. So when this finishes, after the credits are done and everything like that, it will throw directly to Stato. Okay. So it's just something we're playing around with to see. Dale is a good mate of mine. We're always chatting, and he's always in here as well. He does a watch along, and he'll be doing a watch along for this. As I say, it will throw directly in there and automatically redirect. Fingers crossed. Hopefully it works. This is the first time we're trying it. And likewise, after his watch along for the game is finished, you guys will throw directly into our stream for the post match as well. So it's just like, you guys, if you've got 4 hours to spend just watching Aston Villa, this is the perfect way to do it, because we will be back with a post match show afterwards. And as I said, Dale from AVFC Stato is doing his watch along as well. So that's cool. We're just going to try this to see if it works, because I know a lot of people watch both channels. So if you guys don't have to click out of one to click into the other, well, then that's just that's the saving you guys the energy and the hassle of having to do that. I'm going to do a quick rundown, Paddy, of the scores. Going to take off Diori Tielemans. Dan Donnelly's going 2-0 Villa. Western Oud is going 3-1 Villa. Captain Nugget's going 3-1 Villa. CC's going 2-0 Villa. 2-0 Villa Ronan Moore. 2-1 Dream Villa. Anno Grady's going 3-0. The McBees is going 2-1 to us. Rex Colt's going 1-1. Nicole is going 5-1. So he wants to go big. Matt Hanlon, good to see you. Matt has gone 2-0. David Dwyer is going 2-1. Jack is going 3-0 with a Duran brace. Western Oud, we have a good bench. That's my reasoning for 3-1. The Welland Valley, I was going to say the Welly Volley there for whatever reason. 2-1 Villa. Love Bleed says 2-1 Villa. Dream Bigger says 2-1 Villa with Durant Banger and Diaby's a sub. 3-1 says John Griffin. 5-0 says Jet. Where are we? 6-0 says Habs. 2-1 says Bog. 4-0 says T8. 3-0 says Paul Miller. 4-1. Unless otherwise stated, any of these results in the win column are for Aston Villa, unless otherwise stated, I'm presuming. 2-0 Gary Edmond says. Tony from Belfast says 3-1 Villa. Josh Fowler says 2-1. Stephen Wright says 2-1 Villa. 3-1 Villa says Andy Mack. Josh Fowler's coming in again 3-0. Josh, you've gone 4-1, 2-1, 3-0, 4-0. I'm not reading out any more of yours. Settle down in a score, buddy. Standing on the word says 4-1 with Zadiola scoring Duran 2. Matt Parker goes 3-1 Villa, and I'm going for 2-0. As I've said before, Brendan Townsend's going for 4-0. He's going big too. And that is going to end up the roundup. Black Roma's in for 3-1 Villa. We'll just see if any more come in, if there's any late entries in for scores. But I think everybody...
There's an awful lot of that optimism there. Normally you get an old draw or a defeat thrown in there. Like that's a 4-2. That's the most somebody has given them to score a goal. So
well, well, in fairness to Rex went for 1-1 as well. There was a 1-1 in there, I think, from Rex.
Was there? I didn't see that one.
I think there might have been. I think it might have been Rex had a 1-1 in there. But I think there is optimism. Look, we're the most vulnerable Aston Villa Football Club, and we are optimistic. But 100%. Let's enjoy this, because Jesus, we've been 13 years waiting. I did have an inkling to wear the jersey, the FX Pro jersey that we last wore in the in Europe last time, but it's a god awful jersey and I can't find it. So I'm delighted I didn't wear that shirt for the last time that we were in Europe. But yeah, thanks ever so much, everybody, for watching and for listening. If you're listening back to this, as I say, this will throw directly into Dale's stream afterwards. If you guys want to hold on, I think Dale will be starting up shortly afterwards. But yeah, as I said, thank you so much for your time. We will be back with a post-match show right on the final whistle, which will be roughly around 5 to 8, and we look forward to seeing you then. But in the meantime, big day for Aston Villa, back in Europe, albeit away from home. We should all sit down and enjoy this one because this is where we've wanted to be for the last 13 years. So thanks very much, everybody, for your time. Thank you very much, Paddy. Stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.